Hello there, and welcome to Sleepy Tales by John, a place where cosmic sleep stories are crafted just for you. I'm truly glad that tonight, in some gentle and unexpected way, you found your way into this quiet little corner of peace. Maybe you've walked through a long day, or maybe you're simply looking for a soft voice to guide your mind back to a calmer place. Whatever your reason may be, tonight's journey is for you. Complete, serene, and as natural as the moment you stumbled upon this video. Before we begin, let your mind loosen just a little. Now take a slow breath with me. Inhale and release it gently. Can you feel your body growing heavier? Yes, it's that tender heaviness of the bed holding you, wrapping you in a warmth that belongs only to you. As the stillness spreads through the room, you may notice even gravity feels softer, less insistent, no longer pulling you down so tightly. And in this moment, there is nothing left to finish, no list of tasks waiting. There is only you, this quiet voice beside you, and the deep, open space of the universe unfolding softly ahead. Because tonight, we're not just going to look at the stars, we're going straight into our very own galactic home, a colossal spiral that has been turning for more than 13 billion years, carrying hundreds of billions of stars, dust, gas, and even invisible forces the human eye can never touch. Beneath its beauty lie ancient stories, silent relics, and mysteries no one has fully deciphered. We'll drift along its faint spiral arms, brushing past stars older than the galaxy itself, gliding through the torn streams of stars stripped from small ancient galaxies. We'll approach the dark heart of the Milky Way, where a supermassive black hole keeps time for the entire city of stars, and then drift away again, softly, like a quiet breath dissolving into the night. Some of the things you hear tonight may widen your eyes, or perhaps make them close faster, as curiosity slowly melts into calm. And if this small journey helps you find the stillness you need to close your day, you can gently tap like or subscribe. No rush, only if it feels natural. Now then, lie still. We're about to begin the lightest journey a human being can take. A journey into the Milky Way, just as your eyes begin to fall asleep. All right, now that you're resting on your warm bed, it's time for your breath to blend with the darkness and for us to drift a little deeper. From the small boat that floated moments ago, let your mind drift farther, as though the quiet water beneath you is opening into a vaster, deeper expanse. We'll enter the first layer of the story, where the Milky Way is no longer the soft, spiral glow you see from Earth, but becomes a living being, with memories, with a past, with countless layers of time stacked like cosmic sediments. Imagine you're standing before a gigantic tapestry, so large you couldn't see all of it even if you turned your head from end to end. This tapestry is woven from hundreds of billions of threads, each with its own color, its own brightness. That is the Milky Way. But its beauty isn't the most extraordinary thing. The way it was woven is. Because our galaxy was not born in a complete moment. It didn't appear as a perfect, polished spiral. Instead, it was built slowly, piece by piece, over tens of billions of years, through the ancient fragments of many smaller galaxies. These dwarf galaxies, like small islands in the cosmic ocean, were pulled toward the Milky Way by its immense gravity. They were stretched, thinned, and pulled into delicate streams of stars, like pale ribbons someone absent-mindedly painted across the night. These stellar streams are the remains of quiet, unavoidable encounters. There were no crashes, no explosive collisions, only a slow cosmic dance lasting billions of years, where each star was gently pulled from its original home and blended into a greater spiral. From afar, The streams look like thin silk threads, stitched along the edge of the Milky Way's tapestry, each thread carrying the memory of the galaxy it once belonged to. And then, in the most distant parts of the galaxy, within what we call the galactic halo, there are stars unlike any others. They do not lie within the familiar spiral disk. They float farther out, much farther. These stars are so old that they are older than the Milky Way's current shape itself. They shone during the universe's dawn, when the very first matter condensed into stars, long before our galaxy became whole. If the Milky Way were a house, these ancient halo stars would be the very first stones laid down while the house was still an unfinished foundation. They are silent witnesses of antiquity, recording the galaxy's history through their motion, composition, and placement. They don't shine brightly, they don't stand out, yet they hold secrets even the youngest, hottest stars in the disk cannot tell. If you close your eyes just a little more, you might picture the Milky Way as a quilt sewn from countless ancient patches. Each small galaxy that once collided with the Milky Way is one patch, one color, one pattern, one story. Over time, those patches lose their original shapes and melt into the swirling whole. And the most fascinating part, this process has not stopped. If we look outward toward the cosmic horizon, we'll see Andromeda, our largest galactic neighbor. The distance between us is huge, about 2.5 million light-years. But gravity is pulling the two galaxies closer. And someday, not tomorrow, not within humanity's time, but in about 4 to 5 billion years, Andromeda will approach the Milky Way as the two galaxies enter a slow, colossal dance. Don't imagine it as a violent collision or fiery chaos. The reality is much softer. The stars in both galaxies are so far apart that they almost never hit each other directly. So instead of disaster, the event will look like a gentle dance lasting billions of years, where the spirals stretch, twist, blend, and finally merge into a new form, a massive elliptical galaxy, brighter and older. If you're still awake, you may imagine it like two ribbons drifting in the air, slowly wrapping around each other until there is no telling which ribbon is which. But if you're drifting into sleep, just know this: even great galaxies have their own tender encounters. And while your body grows heavier, your breath more even, the universe continues its work at its own rhythm, a rhythm measured in billions of years. The Milky Way isn't just a place holding hundreds of billions of stars. It is a work of art, being woven endlessly, a living tapestry growing richer with time. If you lie still and listen closely, you might sense it. A beat, faint and far away, but still there. A rhythm of creation, dissolution, and creation again. And just like our galaxy, your mind tonight can let go of its old layers, the worries that clung to you all day, and drift into something lighter, quieter. We've only passed through the first layer of the Milky Way story, but there's no need to hurry. We still have an entire sky to explore. Slowly, gently, like light drifting through space. All right, now that you're imagining the Milky Way as a vast tapestry being woven across time, each thread a small galaxy dissolving into it, you may start to wonder, among all these layers of time and memory, where are we? That question flows through the mind like a small stream, soft, calm, yet deep enough to take us further. Because among hundreds of billions of stars, there's a tiny, almost insignificant corner, and yet it is home. And to continue tonight's gentle journey through the cosmos, we'll move closer to that humble corner, a place nestled quietly on an unremarkable spiral arm of the Milky Way. It is our solar system. If you could zoom out the entire galaxy and look from above, you would see the solar system as a tiny speck, nothing more than a grain of dust, suspended in the great darkness. But here's the interesting part. That grain of dust never stays still. It is always moving, endlessly, along a massive spiral path around the galactic center. Keep your breath slow here, because the numbers ahead may feel almost unreal. Our solar system is flying around the Milky Way's center at about 220 kilometers per second, so fast that in one blink we've traveled more than 200 kilometers. Yet despite that blistering speed, the journey is so long that one full orbit takes nearly 230 million years. They call that a galactic year. So if you look at Earth's history, you'll find something astonishing. From the moment our planet formed 4.5 billion years ago, our solar system has completed only about 20 orbits. Only 20 across all of Earth's history. If you listen carefully, you may feel something in that realization. Everything on Earth, mountains, oceans, creatures, human civilizations, appeared, vanished, reappeared, all within a tiny fraction of those galactic cycles. And sometimes thinking about this brings a strange, gentle comfort, as if reminding us that all the urgency we carry each day is so much smaller than we imagine. Try imagining this. When dinosaurs walked the Earth, the night sky they saw was not the one we see today. Not because stars shifted quickly, but because the solar system was in a completely different neighborhood of the galaxy. As the solar system travels along its spiral path, its stellar neighbors change as well. Every few tens of millions of years, Earth's cosmic neighbors are entirely different. The stars the dinosaurs gazed at were not the familiar stars we recognize today. Imagine it this way. If the galaxy were a gigantic city, Earth would have moved through many districts, each with its own style of lighting. At one time, we lived near a busy, star-dense region. At another, we drifted through a wide, quiet, star-poor district. And right now, as you're lying still in bed, eyelids gently lowering, the solar system continues drifting through the galaxy's darkness, passing by stars that millions of years from now may exist only as memories. To make the image clearer, hold on to that small boat from earlier, the boat you were lying on, floating in the dark. Now expand that image. The solar system is like a tiny leaf drifting along the Milky Way's spiraling river. That leaf carries the sun, the Earth, the moon, all the planets large and small, billions of asteroids and trillions of dust particles, all of them gliding together in perfect silence. No sound, no trembling, no announcement letting us know we're moving at incredible speed. It is a motion so gentle that, if you didn't know, you'd think we were perfectly still. Even right now, as you breathe slowly and let your eyes close naturally, the planet beneath your back is still flying through space at a dizzying speed. The moon is still circling around you, and the entire solar system is drifting along the galactic river like an endless leaf. With each breath you take, another vast distance is crossed. And strangely, knowing that can sometimes make people less worried, less tense, less heavy, because if a small leaf can float on a vast river without trying at all, and so can you. You don't have to strain yourself to get through everything. The universe is already carrying you along its own current. Let that thought stay with you for a few breaths. Slow and very gentle. Each time you exhale, imagine your body drifting with the solar system, gliding softly through an immense darkness, where the stars lie still like glowing specks of dust. You don't need to make an effort. You only need to let go, and the rest, leave it to the universe. The solar system continues its silent journey through the galaxy, never stopping, never resting, and never in a hurry. It moves to its own rhythm, the slow and ancient rhythm of the galaxy. A rhythm we can only sense with our intuition when we lie very still in the dark, like this. And in that peaceful moment, we have completed our journey to the next part of the story. No sound of transition, no interruption, just a single leaf, continuing to float. When you imagine the solar system as a small leaf gently drifting along the galaxy's spiraling river, another subtle truth slowly appears. That leaf is not floating on a perfectly flat surface. The Milky Way we live in is not a flawless disk. And from that very distortion, the galaxy's story becomes even more beautiful, more alive, and more deeply connected to us as humans. So, to continue this gentle journey, we will step away from the drifting leaf and lift our gaze to the entire river it is gliding upon. A river that is not flat, not even, not symmetrical, but holds a kind of beauty you can only see by looking very slowly and very deeply. If we could place the Milky Way in the palm of our hand to observe it, it would not appear as a perfect, thin, balanced disk like in drawings. The edge of the galactic disk bends slightly upward in one place, dips a little downward in another, forming soft curves like a great sheet of fabric lifted by the wind. It is not rigid, not straight, and doesn't follow any perfect rules we might imagine. Every bulge, every curve is the result of tugs, twists, and interactions with smaller surrounding galaxies over billions of years. And if you let your mind drift with that image, you may begin to feel the galaxy more like a living body than a physical structure. It breathes, it trembles softly, and it carries the wrinkles of time. At the center of this great fabric is a long, bright bar of stars, stretching through the core of the galaxy. This is not a stiff, straight line, but a dense flow of stars, like a prominent thread pulled tight across the glowing cloth. Around it lies the central bulge, swollen like the shape of a peanut, filled with old, dense, hot stars. Seen from afar, this bulge looks like the heart of the galaxy, where layers of time are stacked the thickest, and from that heart, two main disk layers extend outward, a thin disk holding most of the young stars and gas, and a thicker disk containing older stars with more chaotic motions. Each layer is like a different era of history, telling a chapter of the Milky Way's long story. If we step back a little further to see more of the whole, we'll notice something else interesting. Our solar system does not lie in one of the bright, bustling main spiral arms like Perseus or Sagittarius. Instead, we sit in a smaller branch, a thin and modest structure called the Orion Spur. If the main spiral arms are like wide, radiant boulevards filled with lights, then the Orion Spur is just a quiet side street with fewer passers-by, softer lights, and a more tranquil space. And perhaps it is precisely because we are in this alley that life on Earth has had enough time to form, grow, and develop without being disturbed too much by the violent events that often happen in the busier parts of the galaxy. And if you listen very slowly, you'll notice something small yet deeply meaningful. The galaxy we live in is not perfect. It is warped, it is tilted, it is bent. The disk's edge is twisted upward, the middle bulges, the arms are uneven, the smaller branches are unclear. And yet, all of this makes the Milky Way unique, individual, and beautiful in a way no painting can capture accurately. Like a dancer spinning in the wind, her skirt never flares into a perfect circle. The wind that brushes past, the softness of her turn, gravity and motion. All of them join together to create unexpected folds, soft twists, and stray strips of fabric that fly in directions no rule could predict. And in that very asymmetry, we discover the quiet charm of the galaxy. As you breathe slowly and feel your body sinking deeper into relaxation, the galaxy too is spinning to its own rhythm. A rhythm so slow and vast that the human mind can hardly grasp it. But if you shrink the image down, if you watch closely, you'll see a simple truth. Both the Milky Way and human beings carry their own imperfections, and it is these very flaws that give rise to their beauty, their truth, and their identity. If you are still awake, you can let your mind picture this. The entire galaxy, spinning like a dancer in space, her enormous skirt lifted and tilted by cosmic winds, creating asymmetric arcs and unexpected folds no one could foresee. And if your eyes are already growing heavy, just keep the feeling that you are lying within one of those soft folds, cradled by the galaxy's gentle curves. curves that have existed long before Earth appeared, billions of years ago. Just as in life, absolute perfection has never been necessary. Our galaxy is beautiful precisely because it is not perfect. It is curved, it is skewed, it carries the marks of countless past interactions, and so do you. You don't need to be perfectly straight, perfectly balanced, or perfectly articulate in everything. You only need to exist the way the Milky Way exists, with soft wrinkles, strange curves, and a unique beauty that only reveals itself to those who look deeply enough. And as you let your shoulders relax naturally, you may feel that we are drifting into yet another layer of the galaxy's story. That glowing tapestry is still trembling gently, still turning, and still holding more mysteries we will uncover later. Just as slowly, just as softly as your breath right now. When you're ready, I will guide you deeper into the hidden structure of the galaxy in the next part. As you let your mind drift with the image of the Milky Way as a dancer spinning in the darkness, her vast skirt tilted by cosmic winds, you may sense something very subtle. No matter how skewed the skirt becomes, no matter how the disk's edge lifts or dips, every motion of the galaxy still revolves around a single point at its center. A point we can never see with the naked eye, yet everything in the galaxy is governed by it. And to continue our journey under this gentle cosmic light, we'll move one layer deeper toward the Milky Way's center, where a secret lies, both dark and wondrous, beyond anything words can fully describe. Beneath the thick dust and shining star spirals lies the dark heart of the galaxy, a supermassive black hole called Sagittarius A, often written as SGRA. It sits right at the center, like a motionless stone in a powerful river no one can resist. But unlike water, here the force is gravity. And that gravity is so strong it bends both space and time around it. Sagittarius A is like a point of extreme stillness, where all motion becomes distorted, where light is bent, where the path of the entire galaxy is influenced even though it emits no light at all. If you could see through all the dust and gas, you would witness a scene that would leave any observer in silent awe. The stars near the galactic center do not drift lazily, like those in the outer regions. They race around S2A at astonishing speeds. Some stars, like S2, one of the most famous in that area, move so fast they complete an orbit around the black hole in just about 16 years. That means they circle the galactic core much faster than Earth orbits the Sun. These stars seem to trace invisible arcs in the darkness, paths the human eye cannot directly see, but which astronomers can feel in every flicker of their light. You might picture this scene as a dark square in the middle of a crowded city of stars. Around the square, the light of billions of stars glows like skyscrapers. But at the very center is a region of absolute blackness, where no light manages to escape. That darkness is not emptiness. On the contrary, it is where every road in the city is bent toward, where every nearby star moves according to a tense, powerful yet orderly rhythm, as if an invisible conductor were guiding the entire cosmos. Strangely enough, though it sits at the galactic center, Sagittarius A is not always as quiet as it seems now. The traces left behind in space, the giant gamma ray bubbles stretching tens of thousands of light years above and below the galactic plane, show that our galaxy once had a fiercely explosive past. At one time, CSA may have blazed like a quasar, releasing torrents of energy powerful enough to light up a vast region of the universe. It might once have been a flaming heart, beating so violently that everything around it trembled. But then, like a great fire that eventually calms after consuming all it can, CS Gray settled down. Today, it is so quiet that you might think it is just a harmless shadow. Yet this stillness is not absence, it is waiting. Waiting for a star to stray too close. Waiting for a cloud of gas to fall into its grasp. Waiting for some collision to awaken it once more. even if only for a brief moment on the universe's timescale. Perhaps, if you listen deeply enough into tonight's silence, you might sense that distant heartbeat. Very slow, very faint, but still there. Sagittarius A does not shine, and yet the entire galaxy revolves around it. There is something in that which mirrors our own lives. Sometimes the most powerful forces are not those we can see. The greatest influences come from the quietest places, the darkest regions, the parts almost no one pays attention to. And sometimes, our most fiery memories are hidden in places we thought had gone dark long ago. In this moment, as you lie still in your bed, imagine yourself standing before the galaxy's dark square, watching stars stream around the center like lines of light being drawn inward. There is no sound, no noise, only motion and perfect silence. And you, small in that vastness, somehow feel strangely safe, because right at the heart of all that chaos lies a point of absolute stillness. In the place that seems most frightening, there is the deepest stability. And as you exhale slowly, you'll realize the galaxy still holds many more stories, many more layers of time, waiting for you to step into. When you're ready, I will lead you deeper into the next hidden realms of the Milky Way. Yes, now it's time to gently step into an even deeper layer of the story. A layer the human eye can never see, yet one that plays one of the most crucial roles in the Milky Way's existence. If Sagittarius A is the dark heart at the center, then surrounding the entire galaxy is an invisible frame, a vast ocean of matter we cannot see with light, cannot touch, cannot feel with our senses, but can only detect through its weight. This matter is called dark matter. It is what fascinates and humbles scientists, because after decades of study, we still don't know exactly what it is. But we know one thing: without it, the Milky Way could not exist as it does now. Imagine you are watching the galaxy spin. The stars near the center rotate quickly. That makes sense, because they are close to where most of the mass is. But here is the strange thing. The stars at the edge of the galaxy also rotate almost just as fast. According to the usual rules, they should be flung outward, because the gravity from the visible matter isn't strong enough to hold them in place. And yet, they don't fly away. They remain there, drifting along with the same spiral motion, as if an invisible hand were holding them. That hand is dark matter. Keep your breath slow here, because this concept is not only vast, it is beautiful in its own way. Dark matter forms a gigantic halo surrounding the entire galaxy, much larger than the bright disk we usually see in illustrations. If the luminous galaxy is an island, then dark matter is the ocean around it, wrapping the island in an unseen stillness. It is like a massive cocoon. No color, no light, no clear shape, but it encloses the entire galaxy like a protective cloak. Inside that cocoon are countless objects we rarely think about. There are extremely ancient stars, dense globular clusters, containing hundreds of thousands of old stars. There are stars moving on very distant, very flattened, or very tilted orbits, like weary travelers walking along the far edges of a city of stars. It is even possible that in those dark regions, there exist planets that are not bound to any star at all. Wandering planets, drifting alone through the cold void, forever in eternal night. Those objects are rarely seen, yet they are truly part of the galaxy. And dark matter, the thing we cannot see or touch, is the foundation that keeps all of them, from ancient stars to wandering planets, within one unified structure. Without dark matter, the galaxy would be torn apart. The stars would scatter into space, and the little leaf we call the solar system would lose its sense of direction. There is a meditative gentleness in that thought. There are things we cannot see with the naked eye, yet they play the most important roles. The universe seems to be reminding us of something. Not everything important is visible. Sometimes the quietest, most unseen, least noticed things are exactly what hold our entire life together. Just like your faith. No one can see it. No one can measure it. But it is precisely what helped you get through your hardest days. It is like a halo of dark matter in your mind. A force that keeps you whole, even when you cannot point to where it is. If you let your mind grow a little stiller, you'll begin to feel this. Dark matter does not shine, yet everything that shines depends on it to exist, just like the silent moments in life. Others may not know how hard you've tried, how tired you've been, but those very silent moments, those times you lifted yourself up when no one was watching, are the most important of all. They are the invisible halo, keeping you steady in the vastness of life. In the farthest regions of the dark matter halo, where light rarely reaches, lie the oldest memories of the galaxy. Ancient globular clusters formed at the dawn of the universe, orbits that stretch over billions of years, paths pulled and stretched by countless interactions. As you slow your breathing, you can imagine yourself standing in that distant place, looking inward at the glowing galaxy, like watching a massive city from a dark hill at its outermost edge. There everything is silent, and you realize that beauty doesn't just live in the light. It also lives in the places that are never lit. And as you let your body relax a bit more, you'll understand that we have just stepped into a very deep layer of the Milky Way's story. A hidden layer, a layer no one can see, but one that holds the entire structure together. When you stand at the farthest edge of the dark matter halo, looking at the luminous galaxy gently spinning within, you may feel something very tender. Even though it is wrapped in that invisible cocoon, the Milky Way is not motionless at all. It doesn't just spin, it lives, it breathes. And that breath is not the breath of an inanimate object, but of a system constantly renewing itself, constantly adjusting, constantly birthing and dying, in slow rhythms only the universe can truly understand. From that awareness, we step into the next part of our journey, where the galaxy reveals one of its deepest laws, the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth of stars. A cycle like the long, slow breath of the galaxy itself. If you let your mind settle very gently, imagine a vast region of space covered in darkness. Not a cold darkness, but a thick, deep one, like a black velvet cloth embracing every motion. In that darkness, cold molecular clouds are drifting, quietly and silently. They are the places where hydrogen gathers and slowly condenses over time, like droplets of dew merging together on a still night. These clouds are the cradle, preparing for new stars to be born. No light, no sound, only the very slow coming together of molecules in the dark. Then, at some point, regions within those clouds grow dense enough to begin collapsing under their own gravity. And when that happens, a new core is formed. That core gradually heats up, brightens, and eventually ignites, like a tiny spark flaring to life inside a thick fog. That is when a stellar nursery begins to glow. Dark clouds stretching hundreds of light years suddenly light up as if lanterns had been hung inside them. Young stars appear, illuminating the dust around them, creating dim glowing regions, like lanterns suspended in a sea of mist. You can imagine the galaxy then as a nighttime forest, where each time a new star is born, it is like a tiny flame kindled in the fog. Those flames do not stay small. They grow, brighten, and if they are massive stars, they live very quickly, burn very brightly, and fade away just as fiercely. When a massive star reaches the end of its life, it does not simply go out. It explodes as a supernova. Take a slow breath in, because that moment is both violent and indescribably beautiful. A supernova is like a storm of light so powerful it can illuminate an entire corner of the galaxy. It destroys the star, blowing its outer layers into space at unimaginable speeds. But the miracle is this: in that destruction, it also sows seeds. Heavy elements, iron, gold, carbon, oxygen, everything that makes up planets, water, and your own body, are forged in such explosion. This means that each time a star dies, it leaves behind the raw materials for millions of other possible lives. If you pay close attention, you'll notice a truth that makes you unconsciously breathe more slowly. The iron in your blood once lay in the core of a star. The oxygen you inhale was once forged in the furious heat of an explosion billions of years ago. You do not merely live in the universe, you are born from it. But the journey of gas and energy doesn't end there. After a group of stars explodes, hot gas is blown out of the galactic plane, rising high like jets of water shooting up from a lake's surface. This mechanism is called a fountain, galactic fountains. Hot gas and energy rise up, cool gradually, then fall back into the galactic disk, like a breath, inhaling and exhaling, rising and returning. There are also gigantic bubbles, superbubbles, created when many stars explode in sequence, carving out huge vertical tunnels through which gas can escape. And even though we cannot see this with the naked eye, these motions are unfolding constantly, like a long, patient breath lasting millions of years. Imagine the galaxy now as a vast chest, slowly expanding and contracting. When hot gas rises, that is the galaxy inhaling. When the gas cools and descends, that is the galaxy exhaling. From the glowing stellar nurseries to supernova explosions, from dust that rises high to the returning rain of dust back into the disk, the entire process forms a deep, calm, endless rhythm, the long breath of the galaxy. If you are still awake, let that image flow through your mind like a gentle stream. If you are sinking into sleep, just keep this thought. Everything in the universe follows its own cycle. Nothing truly ends. Everything simply changes form to begin a new journey. A star dies to create planets. Planets form to give rise to life. Life fades and returns to stardust, and it all begins again in a soft, unending circle. Just like this moment as you exhale and let your body grow lighter. You are also entering your own natural rhythm of breath. A rhythm the universe has been practicing for billions of years. All right, I will continue to guide you through deeper layers of the galaxy, where the chemistry of life is woven from dust and light. As you are still feeling the long breath of the galaxy, where stars are born from darkness, blaze, and then fade away like gentle lifetimes, you may realize something very profound. Every life, every planet, every speck of dust floating around you in this room is the result of those cycles of rebirth. The cycle of star birth, death, and rebirth does more than beautify the sky. It is the heartbeat of the universe itself, the quiet hand that creates all the elements from which everything we know is built. And when you look deeply into that rhythm, you'll see that each generation of stars, each explosion, leaves behind chemical pieces for a greater story, the story of life. This is the moment when we step into another layer of tonight's journey, a layer containing the galaxy's invisible library, where cosmic chemistry has been written over billions of years of light. In astronomy, there is a simple concept that holds many secrets: metals. It may sound strange, but to astronomers, metals are not just gold, silver, or iron. They include all elements heavier than hydrogen and helium. And these elements are how we measure the age and history of stars. Young stars, formed from gas that has been enriched through many previous supernova explosions, contain higher amounts of metals. Older, more ancient stars, by contrast, are very poor in metals. They are made almost entirely of hydrogen and helium, the first two elements to appear after the Big Bang. These stars are like fragile, surviving pages from the universe's dawn, where each line was written when time itself had only just begun. Imagine you are holding a very thick, ancient book, its pages yellowed with age. Every metal-poor star is like one such page, old, delicate, but containing the most precious information about where the universe began. When astronomers look at the spectrum of those stars, it is as if they are reading lines of text written backward in time, reaching across tens of billions of years to glimpse the conditions of the early cosmos. But the galaxy is not made only of old stars. It also hosts rare, intense events powerful enough to create the heaviest elements in nature. One such event is the collision of two neutron stars. Neutron stars are the compact remnants of massive stars that have already exploded. They are so dense that a teaspoon of their material would weigh billions of tons. And when two neutron stars collide, the energy released is beyond any image we are used to. In that brief moment of impact, heavy elements like gold, platinum, and uranium are produced in staggering quantities and flung across the galaxy like precious dust scattered from a cosmic firework. Every gold ring you've ever seen, every glint of platinum, may be the result of such a collision billions of years ago, in a distant place whose light has only just reached Earth. But cosmic chemistry doesn't end with dramatic explosions. Between the stars, drifting in dark regions where light struggles to pass, there is interstellar gas and dust, tiny particles carrying a wealth of complex organic molecules. When observed in radio wavelengths, these molecules reveal something miraculous. The universe is not just filled with hydrogen, helium, and heavy elements, but also with chemical seeds that can give rise to life. In that dust, there may be methanol, formaldehyde, primitive amino acids, the first building blocks of life. When dust and gas fall into forming protoplanetary disks around newborn stars, they become crucial ingredients for future worlds. Whether a planet has oceans or not depends on these molecules. Whether a world can one day support life also begins with these tiny grains of dust. If you close your eyes and imagine, you'll see interstellar dust as a fine rain falling over a vast field. Each grain of dust is a seed. As they fall into a rotating protoplanetary disk, they may blend into future droplets of water, future soil, future air on a world yet unnamed. Over millions of years, those seeds may form oceans, shape atmospheres, and nourish the first chemical reactions that bring life into being. That is the Milky Way's invisible library, a library with no books, no paper, no written words, yet one that holds every formula needed to create life. And that library is written with light, dust, gas, explosions, and time. Each new star is a new page. Each collision is a fierce chapter. Each cold cloud is a soft opening line. And you, right now, lying in the darkness of your room, are also being written into that library. With every breath, every atom in your body, bearing the marks of the oldest pages. As you breathe a little more slowly, hold this thought. You are not just listening to a scientific story. You are listening to the origin story of yourself. When you are ready, I will take you along the ancient paths of the stars, those delicate thread-like streams, to continue exploring the journeys of these wandering souls of light within the Milky Way. And as you gently drift along the image of the Milky Way's invisible library, where every organic molecule and every heavy element is written in like letters of life, you may begin to feel that the galaxy doesn't just store its memory in dust grains or ancient stars. It also preserves its story in the very motion of each star passing through the darkness. Because in a galaxy so vast, not every star follows neat circular paths. Many stars, in fact, carry within them unusual trajectories. Paths that retell ancient encounters, silent collisions, moments of being torn apart, pulled askew, or even flung out of the galaxy like wandering souls. And from the chemical library we've just closed, we now step into another part of the story. The part devoted to stellar streams, shattered remnants, and lonely travelers drifting through the night. If you let your mind zoom out, you'll notice that the galaxy isn't just made of tidy spiral arms. On the outskirts, in faint regions where light barely reaches, there are thin bands of stars, stretching like hazy streams of smoke, drifting around the galaxy. These are called stellar streams. They are like long silk scarves stretched out by the cosmic wind, soft, yet holding a quiet sadness within them, because each stream is actually the remains of a dwarf galaxy that once passed close to the Milky Way and was torn apart by its powerful gravity. Stars that once belonged to another family are now pulled out into long trails, swept away, and gradually blended into the larger galaxy, never to return to the place where they were born. But stellar streams are not the only traces of these silent encounters. In surveys, astronomers have also found stars whose orbits are tilted compared to most of the galaxy, or even stars that orbit in the opposite direction from the majority. They are like people walking against the flow of a crowded street, moving in reverse, while no one around them knows why. But the universe always remembers. Those stars are witnesses of past collisions, when a small galaxy or a star cluster passed through and left behind skewed paths, odd trajectories, bent out of line. Each such star is a fragment of a story, a leftover line describing a moment in history when the entire galaxy trembled gently. Then, if you look at star clusters, places where thousands of stars are born at the same time, you'll see something both beautiful and sad. Star clusters are like large families. They are born together, from the same cloud of gas, sharing the same chemical composition, like siblings sharing the same cosmic DNA. But over time, the cluster slowly dissolves. Stars begin to drift apart in every direction, pulled away by invisible forces no one can see. It's possible that the sun once belonged to such a cluster, once had siblings, stars born alongside it, that have now scattered to the four corners of the galaxy. They don't know one another, they are no longer close, but they still carry the same chemical fingerprints in their cores. Like long-lost siblings, each living out their own life far away. And deep within the Milky Way, there are stars that don't just move askew or orbit backward. They are hurled out of the galaxy at terrifying speeds. These are called hypervelocity stars. They are like people who have been thrown out of the city with such a powerful push that there is no path back. Some are flung away by the supermassive black hole at the galactic center when they wander too close. Others are ejected by complex gravitational interactions in multiple star systems, launched outward at extreme velocities. Once they escape the Milky Way's gravitational pull, they become eternal travelers, lonely souls crossing the intergalactic void. No home, no companions, only endless darkness ahead. If you imagine the galaxy as a giant city filled with billions of souls of light, then stellar streams are its torn roads. The backward orbiting stars are those walking in the opposite direction because of their unusual childhood. Dissolving clusters are families drifting apart, each member carrying their own story. And hypervelocity stars are the travelers who leave the city forever, taking with them the imprint of the place where they were born, though they will never return. In this moment, as you exhale very slowly, you may feel that the universe is not so different from your own life. Some people walk beside you for a time, then quietly turn onto another path. Some appear suddenly and then disappear. Some encounters leave a mark, some separations never return, and there are souls, like hypervelocity stars, who are flung too far by life, yet still carry their inner light, true to who they are. But even though each star follows its own path, all of them are still part of the galaxy. They are individual notes in a symphony that has been playing for billions of years. And you, lying here, listening to the story of these travelers of light, also carry within you atoms woven from their very journeys. When you are ready to go deeper into the Milky Way's story, I will take you to a calmer place, where the small home of Earth resides in this vast city of stars. As the story of these unusual trajectories slowly sinks into silence in your mind, as the image of thin stellar streams like smoke trails, dissolving clusters like separated families, and hypervelocity stars leaving the galaxy like solitary souls fades gently into the darkness before you, you may sense something soft. That amid all those complex motions, the pulling, tearing, and flinging away, there is still a place of great peace, a small corner of the galaxy that has never been swept up too deeply in the chaos. a region where violent events rarely reach, and it is precisely there that life has had enough time to begin gently, then patiently grow. From the image of lonely travelers drifting away, we now shift into another neighborhood, a neighborhood you are living in, even though you've never seen it from the outside. In a galaxy hundreds of thousands of light years wide, there are regions flooded with radiation, with supernovae exploding, with forces so intense that life would struggle to survive. There are places too close to the galactic core, where the supermassive black hole and dense star clusters keep space in constant turmoil. There are regions too far out, starved of heavy elements, where even planets are hard to form, let alone life. But among all those regions, there is a narrow band that astronomers call the galactic habitable zone. It is not too close to the chaotic center, nor too far out where matter becomes scarce. It is a region with just enough light, just enough metals, and just enough peace. Our solar system lies precisely in this zone. And not only is it at just the right distance, it also sits in a small galactic branch, the Orion Spur. Not a grand star boulevard, not too dazzling, not located in the busiest cosmic highways. It is like a quiet alley in a huge city. The intense events, like large supernova explosions, occur more often in crowded districts, where stars are packed tightly and collisions are frequent. But where the solar system resides, things are different. It is quiet. It is not surrounded by violent storms of energy. It rarely endures the lethal light of dying supergiant stars. This tranquility has become an invaluable gift for Earth. There is even a hypothesis that the sun's speed around the galaxy may be close to the pattern speed of the spiral arms. That would mean the solar system doesn't frequently plunge through the more chaotic regions of the galaxy. It's like a patient walker, keeping a steady pace to avoid being caught in the busiest traffic on the main roads. Thanks to this, over billions of years, Earth has not been overly disturbed, not wiped clean by events that could have erased every budding trace of life. If you let this image expand in your mind, you'll see the galaxy as a city at night. Some districts blaze with light, where chaos and motion never stop. Some areas are darker, more dangerous, where energy overwhelms every corner. And then, there is a small, quiet alley where the light is just bright enough to see your steps, where the noise isn't too loud, where the air is calm enough for trees to grow and for life to breathe in peace. Earth lies in that alley. Imagine Earth as a small house in that peaceful alley, a house with a green roof of forests, blue walls of oceans, and the golden glow of campfires at night. If you look down from above, you'd see that house nestled among streams of stars, sheltered from the violence of the busier roads. It is thanks to this calm that trees have had time to grow tall, oceans have had time to rise and fall, and tiny creatures have had time to evolve. Until one day, you found yourself lying here, listening to a story about your own galaxy. And the strangest thing is, all of this has unfolded in absolute silence. There is no sign hung at the edge of the galaxy saying, "This region is safe for life." No one designed that peaceful alley. No one stood guard to protect Earth from great events. There is only the universe, in its own natural way, forming regions where life can bloom like a flower in spring. And Earth, through a stroke of immeasurable fortune, blossomed exactly there. In this moment, as you exhale very slowly and let your body sink down, hold one image in your heart. You are living in a very gentle neighborhood of the universe. A neighborhood far enough from danger, close enough to rich resources. A place where the entire galaxy seems to agree, let life grow here. Slowly, steadily, beautifully. As you continue to picture Earth as a small house in a quiet alley of a vast stellar city, a soft thought may drift through your mind. If we are only a tiny house in a peaceful neighborhood, then where does this entire city, the Milky Way, sit within an even larger universe? And from that gentle question, we step into the final chapter of tonight's journey, the chapter that tells of the Milky Way's place in the wider tapestry, and of your own small, yet extraordinary role in that story. The Milky Way is not alone. It is not an abandoned island in a black, endless sea. It is a member of a larger family called the Local Group. In that family, the Milky Way has a great sibling, Andromeda, a giant spiral galaxy more than 2 million light-years away. Andromeda is not just a neighbor. It will be the Milky Way's dance partner in the distant future, when the two perform a slow merging waltz over billions of years, eventually joining into a new galaxy. Alongside these two giants are the Magellanic Clouds, dwarf galaxies orbiting the Milky Way like soft glowing patches, and dozens of smaller galaxies, all linked by gravity like members of a family who always feel each other's presence, no matter how infinite the distance. The connections between galaxies are not visible ropes, but a web of gravity spread across space, like cosmic threads of a vast fabric where each galaxy tugs gently on others, forming a slow dance that nothing can truly break apart. But even the Local Group is not where the story ends. Farther still, beyond the dark gaps where light struggles to reach, we find thin flows of gas streaming from the cosmic web into the Milky Way. These streams are the lifeblood that nourishes the galaxy, like small creeks flowing from the mountains into valleys, filling lakes, feeding trees, feeding the soil. The gas pulled from the Magellanic Clouds works the same way, like strips of fabric torn from the skirts of smaller galaxies being drawn into the larger one, carrying their own chemical histories. Thanks to these flows, the Milky Way is never truly isolated. It is connected, replenished with new material, enriched so it can keep forming stars, planets, and fresh chances for life. And yet, strangely, even though the Milky Way is enormous and holds hundreds of billions of stars, we, tiny beings on a small planet, cannot see the whole galaxy with our naked eyes. When you look up at the night sky, you only see a faint band, like a streak of spilled milk. But the real galaxy is much wider, much deeper, and much more complex than anything we can see. We can only view it in full thanks to other eyes, radio telescopes, X-ray telescopes, gamma-ray observatories, ultra-precise maps from missions like Gaia. These tools let us see the dark regions, the streams, the dust layers, the spiral arms that human eyes alone could never detect. And even then, most of the galaxy still lies beyond our reach. Just like the human mind, we see only a small fraction of what is really happening inside. Most of it is in the dark, where memories, fears, hopes, and dreams are quietly stored. And sometimes, those very dark regions shape us the most. There is a beautiful similarity between a galaxy and a human being. Both are larger than what we can see, both carry layers of history deeper than what we remember, and both have bright regions, dark regions, quiet currents, and blazing memories. Now, as the journey nears its end, let your mind drift back to the first image of tonight, the small boat floating in the dark. But this time, instead of seeing only the boat and the water, you see the entire galaxy beneath it, a colossal spiral, turning very slowly, soft as breath, deep as sleep, and vast as dreams you haven't yet touched. When you close your eyes, remember this. The iron in your blood once burned in the core of a dead star. The oxygen in your lungs was created in a brilliant explosion long ago. The carbon in your body was once part of interstellar dust. You are not just living in the universe, you are woven from it. And even now, as you gently drift into sleep, the galaxy is still turning, stars are still being born and dying, gas is still flowing through the cosmic web, and gravitational waves, as thin as breath, are passing through Earth without anyone noticing. You are a tiny point of light, but you are also a real part of that story. The story the Milky Way is writing, beat by beat, in the infinite quiet of the night. Let your body grow just a little heavier. Let your mind merge with the slow current of the galaxy. And let tonight's story become the final soft blanket that wraps around you, before sleep arrives. Wishing you a truly peaceful night in this vast universe. Sleep well in the arms of the stars.